Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
All right. Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day. This podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today, we have a powerhouse guest, okay? A woman who has dedicated her life to helping high-achieving women stop performing and start truly living. Dr. Sue Carter Collins, known as the Mind Mastery Architect, okay? She is an author, speaker, and transformational life coach, and a spiritual mentor who blends neuroscience and metaphysics and lived wisdom into a unique and powerful approach. Dr. Sue, I am so happy to have you. I have been looking forward to our conversation because I have experienced being with Dr. Sue on we went to a retreat together. And let me tell you guys, Dr. Sue is a force. Just her presence alone is warm and welcoming. And I gained so much from being in your company. So I'm so grateful that I get to have this conversation with you and talk to you about your new book. So welcome to the Bold Book of the Day podcast.
Hi, Dr. Denise. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so ecstatic. It's just so great to be here. Yes.
You carry the title, the Mind Mastery Architect. What does that title mean to you?
The Mind Mastery Architect.
Uh-huh.
It rises out of my own lived experience in that I did not realize the power of the subconscious mind. And as I began to study it and just lean into the neuroscience behind how the mind works and how it keeps us locked into patterns that we don't even recognize, I thought, I need to deconstruct this, reconstruct this. And that's what architects do. They design, they deconstruct and reconstruct. So there you have it.
So what made you want to write this book?
Such a passion for women, truly, for high achieving women. And we have secrets that we don't tell. And one of the secrets we have, there's a lot of talk now about imposter syndrome, but most of us will never even acknowledge it to ourselves. And yet we have those moments when life is just knocking us down and we're wondering, is this all there is? We've checked all the boxes. We've done those things that they said would make us great.
Mm-hmm.
And we have excelled by society standards, but inside we feel some kind of way. And so I wrote this book for other women who might feel some kind of way, because that's the way I felt.
So you think it is not in the checking off of the things that we aspire to be, or is it that we just need to slow down and enjoy the things that we aspire to be?
Honestly, so we're going to have a real conversation, right?
Yes, let's have a real conversation. You know me like that. So yeah, let's be real, okay?
So here's the thing. Society tells us all of the things that we should do and be. And it begins in the home. The parents have great hopes for us. And so they began to program us. And then the church programs us. And then the various other institutions program us. And all of them are saying, do this, be that, and you're going to have great joy. You're going to have success. And they define what success is. And we buy into it, not because of any ill will. We buy into it because we don't know any better. Because the programming starts when you're a young child. And so at some point, though, you realize, I went to school, I got a job, I got married, maybe if that was what I was told or thought that I should do. And I did all of these things. I got the promotions, I got the titles, I got the degrees, but something inside of me is saying, is this all there is?
Ooh.
Is this all there is?
Is
Really?
there more to life than this?
Yeah. And
wow.
I went, Denise, you know me, I've got 5 degrees. I've got a gazillion certifications. And in all of them, I was reaching for the external thing that they said I needed to have to be happy. And I did. I had it for a moment. With each achievement, I was like, got it,
Yeah.
got it, got it.
Next.
But what happened? It didn't
Mm-hmm.
last. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I came to realize is, y'all, it's just not real. And why is it not real? It's not real because we have a picture in our mind of who we should be, how we should be, but we didn't draw the picture. And so the book, From Mastering Your Mind to Mastering Your Life, allows you to see what perhaps was invisible to you and gives you the tools to erase that picture and draw another one. And this one, you get to choose. You get to choose.
Now, when you say we get to choose, now what if you're choosing the things that society said were part of the list? Like, suppose you want to just be a mother, or just be a wife, or just be a homemaker.
Let me, if I may, respectfully, we're going to delete that word, those two words, just be.
Amen.
I'm going to delete those words because I personally think that each of those positions, that the titles that you listed, those are high achieving women. Do you know? I know you know because you got children, right? You know how much effort it takes to run a household, to raise children, to navigate transporting them here, there. That takes high skill. For those people who
it's like running an organization.
Yes. And for those people who would minimize it and say, just a housewife, you don't get it. Just a mother, you don't get it. You don't get it. So I am not of that genre. I do believe that you get to decide what is high achieving for you. If your dream, and there are people whose dream is to have children. Let me tell you, my son, who is now deceased, but my son from a very, very early age he always said, when I get grown, I'm going to have a busload of children. A busload of children. Now, as it happened, he didn't have any children of his own, but he adopted 3 children because he wanted children, right? Yes. And so that was his goal. I mean, he did some other things too, checking off the boxes, getting education, going into the military, those things. But his core dream was to be a parent.
Yeah.
So I put those people, the people who want to, whatever your dream is, let's put it this way, whatever your dream is important to you. What From Mastering Your Mind to Mastering Your Life does is help you to de-layer, because somewhere, if you're not happy at this point, if there's something that is unsettled in you and you've done everything that you knew to do, then what I'm going to suggest to you is this is a time to what I call sit in divine silence. Sit with you and your maker, with you and your creator, and just get some insight into who am I? Who would you be if you didn't believe everything that they told you about you? Who would you be? Where would you be? How would you be? Those are powerful questions. And that's what the Mastering Your Mind is all about. It's not about taking control of a physical organ like that. It's about becoming aware of what you're thinking, why you're thinking it, where those thoughts come from. So many of us, Dr. Denise, we're living somebody else's dream and we don't even realize it. It's not ours. And so when we wake up, when we've checked all those boxes and we wake up and we're unsettled, we're not living our own dream. We're not living our own dream.
Dr. Sue, what's your story and how much of your story is a part of this book? Tell us.
I wrote this book out of my pain, and I'm no longer in a place of pain, thankfully, but I wrote it out of the painful experiences that I've had really, really quickly. As I have moved into greater visibility, sometimes I'm told you shouldn't start at this part of your story, but I start where my story starts. My story starts with my mom being an uneducated woman. She had a 3rd grade education. My father went to prison shortly after I was born, 1 year old. And so coming up in the South, deep South, Black female, at that point, we were still called colored. We were called the N-word, except we didn't abbreviate. It wasn't abbreviated. And so that was the environment that I grew up in. I have been first in a lot of things, first and second in terms of integrating different spaces and places that were not designed to hold me. I was the Tallahassee Police Department's first legal advisor, and I was one of the first students to integrate Florida State University, one of the first to integrate their law school, one of the first to integrate their PhD program in criminology. So I have been on the front lines, and being on the front lines, it comes at cost. It comes at a very great cost. And from the outside looking in, those who are not aware of what the experience actually entail, they just think, oh, she's got a PhD. Oh, she's got a law degree. Oh,
Yeah.
Baby.
They don't see the work. Yeah.
You don't know my story. You don't know the tears I cried. You don't know the pain I had. You don't know what that experience is like. It eats away at your soul. It eats away at your self-confidence. And there were, I would go through the waves where as I would achieve each of those titles or each degree, receive each accolade, I was high. But then the reality hit in that many times in society's eyes, I was in the same place. And so you're kind of like spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
I ultimately retired from, I'm going to say, public life, bureaucratic public life. In 2015, I retired as an emeritus associate professor at Georgia State University. I retired because I realized that once again, I had begun to shrink myself to fit into a space that I didn't belong. I didn't know why I was feeling the way I was feeling. It wasn't that anybody said anything ugly or mean to me. It was just that I kept waking up thinking, is this all there is? Is this all there is? And then I realized that I had begun to be very fearful about leaving. Where can I go? Where will I go? Despite all of the credentials and experience that I had, I found myself questioning, can you even get another job? Would anybody even hire you?
Wow.
Now, there's a problem when you have my background, my experiences, and my credentials. There is a problem somewhere when you wake up questioning your competency. You could wake up questioning whether you can do what you have been trained to do.
So, Doctor, who were your mentors? Like, how did you get from, where you started? You just told us your story, and you said that your father, by the time you were 1 year old, he was imprisoned. How did you get here? Who mentored you, or did you have any, mentors in your life, or people that showed you or gave you the idea that there is more to life than where you are, or where
I what I call mentors from afar. And what that means is I'm very well read. I read a lot of stories about a lot of people. But if what you're asking me is, was there a human that I had interaction with who actually mentored me, advised me, coached me? I didn't have that. The positions that I held, I believe that without going into deep religion or spirituality, I believe that we are here on a divine path. We each come here to do something very specific, and it really doesn't matter what humanity is doing, whether they're supporting you or not supporting you. God has predetermined what you are here to do. And so even when you don't have a human that is there to hold your hand or to support you, God will make a way.
Yeah.
God will make a way. And so, no, I didn't have mentors. I did a lot of reading. I was in all of my positions that I've held career-wise have been in predominantly white male-dominated fields. And so I looked at the white men who were in leadership. And what are you reading? Where are you? What conferences are you attending? What skill sets do you have? And I mirrored what they were doing. And I did have an occasion at one point to be told by one of my quote unquote mentors, why can't you just be satisfied with the job that you have? The pay is good. The pay was excellent. You get to come and go as you please. You don't have anybody standing over you, bossing you. I had a great job.
Yeah.
but I wanted more. I wanted more. It's like, what he says, why are you trying to get self-actualization? It's like, really? You got it. Why can't I have it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching. At that point, I had not yet started teaching at any of the universities. I ultimately did some adjunct teaching for Florida State University before I went back to get my PhD. But here is a person who is standing in all of his glory with all of his accomplishments, and he is still striving, and yet he is putting me in a box.
Yeah.
You can't put me in that box. And I've had that happen multiple times in my life. And my mom always said this: you get to control, you can't stop people from thinking what they think. You can control what you think, and you can control how you either respond or react to it. And
Yeah.
so, in those situations where people were telling me what I could or couldn't do, I didn't argue with them. And I
Yes.
still don't. I just made a decision to do something else.
Yes. Watch and see.
Exactly. Those are my words for real, real. It's like, oh, you think that
Yes.
you get to tell me how to live my life? Oh no, we're not doing that.
No, I
No.
do believe that when someone challenges you outwardly, you don't have to respond the same way. You don't have to respond with aggression. And that your action, the next step that you take, or the thing that you plan to do next should be to show them, watch and see.
Yeah.
You don't mean me well, or you don't think I can do this, but guess what? I'm going to show you. And you don't have to say that out loud, but you can say it in
Mm-mm.
your head. Watch and see. Okay? Yes.
As I'm thinking, we're having this conversation now, and I hadn't really thought about it. But as I look back over my career path, I've gotten at every level, I've gotten comfortable. And just as I've gotten comfortable, God has had something to happen that caused me to get up and move. This is not where you're supposed to be.
Mm.
And so, in every case, it has been using another person to make the situation so uncomfortable that I couldn't stay. That I couldn't
I've
stay.
heard a great, I'm trying to remember who I heard said it. So, Myron Golden says, disruption always come before intention, or follows intention. Disruption
Yeah.
follows intention. So the minute you decide that you're going to do something, all hell break loose.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Disruption
the
follows intention.
So this book, From Mastering Your Mind to Mastering Your Life, really is what I feel that I was called to do. Now, there are other books that are coming that focus more on leadership from an institutional standpoint. I've
Yes.
already started to write that. But this one is for those women who would be leaders and would stand in their own power, because in order for you to lead someone else, you must first be able to lead yourself. In
Yeah.
order for you to lead yourself, you must understand your inner operating system, what is going on within this thing that we call the mind, and understand that much of our behavior, in fact, all of our behavior, is habituated. And when we're saying that I can't do something or I'm afraid, we're programming ourselves not to do that very thing. And
Yeah.
if we just disrupt the thought, change what we're saying, and this is why so often, people say that affirmations don't work. They do. The question is, what are you affirming? If you
Yeah.
are affirming, I can't do that, oh, the universe is saying, yeah, you're right, you
I
can.
agree with you. Yeah. Hmm.
But if you change it up and you say, I am doing this, then the universe begins to agree with that. And what you'll find, it's not necessarily that it'll be easier. You still have got to do the work, but the mind changes. When the mind changes, life gets a little easier. You begin to see possibility and potentiality where you didn't see it before. And so, mind mastery, from mastering your mind to mastering your life, isn't about controlling your thoughts in terms of getting rid of them. It's about having an awareness of, what am I thinking, and what is the impact that it is having on me as I stand presently, and what is the impact that it is having on my ability to achieve my goals.
So it is, once you have the mindset to that will shift your actions, that will get you the result. Did I get that right?
Yes.
You know, It's important because someone's listening and they think that saying affirmation will get them through. But if you have the affirmation and then take action that leads to results that you want, because you can say affirmation and they're not congruent to what your results that you want. You know, what are you looking for yourself? What kind of affirmation are you saying to yourself? You know, and how are you saying those affirmations? Because I used to think that you had to stand and say your affirmation out loud, and now I've learned that just by simply whispering your affirmation is even more powerful than saying them out loud or aggressively. But just stand in front of the mirror and whisper your affirmation is, I heard that it seeps into your soul, and the transformation happens much faster because you are speaking directly to that soul part of you that needs to hear and needs to believe it.
I totally agree with what you're saying. And
Mhm.
I want to take it to a different level. You know, I am very much into spirituality, and the way you are expressing it agrees, my soul agrees with that from a very spiritual standpoint. But I want to take it to the level that focuses on the neuroscience. I said earlier that behavior, all of our behavior is habitual behavior or habituated behavior. And so, what we need to understand is that when we are making statements, regardless of what they are, if they are positive affirmations, if they are what I call reverse affirmations, which are negative affirmations, regardless of what it is, when you say something, the very moment you have the thought, your brain releases a certain chemical, and the more you think that thought, the more of that chemical is released. If you are afraid, then you are releasing adrenaline and cortisol in your body. If you are happy, then you're releasing the oxytocin and the other feel good chemicals. And so your brain is releasing a chemical that corresponds to the thought. In addition to that, we now know it used to be that we thought, we being the scientists, thought that your brain could only grow or mature to a certain extent. Now, the neuroscience indicates that there is that thing called neuroplasticity. This is how, when we say disrupt the pattern, disrupt the behavior, this is how, when you disrupt the behavior, or when you affirm what your desired behavior is, your brain actually grows new neural pathways. So, as we talk about affirmations, in order for you to really understand what you're doing and why from mastering your mind to mastering your life, I think is so important and impactful. It shows you and tells you, yes, you are affirming on the surface, but this is what's happening underground. So that if I am thinking constantly, I can't do this, it's like, one of the analogies that I use is, one of the metaphors I should say that I use is, have you ever seen a car that's stuck in the mud and
Mhm.
the driver is trying to get it out and the wheels are just
Just
spinning, spinning, spinning,
spinning.
and it's
Mhm.
spinning deeper and deeper, right? And so hold that thought and now think about, when you have a thought of less than or inadequacy or whatever the negative thought is, and you begin to ruminate on it and you're going over and over it, I can't do this, I'm not that, they think I'm stupid, da 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 da. And so you're saying the same thing. You are like the tire that is spinning. Now, when the tire is spinning, what is it doing? It's going deeper and deeper and deeper. And so when you're on that thought wheel, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper, so that the thought becomes so ingrained, and at the same time your brain is actually literally changing. The brain is
Mhm.
changing, the pathway is going deeper. That's why it sometimes we say it takes only 21 days to create a habit. And if that's the case, why is it that on day 30 we're no longer doing that? For the
Mm.
first 21 days, we are actively focusing on the thing that we're trying to change. And then day 21, day 22, we kind of slide into I got it. Day 23, it reverts back to that original behavior. We revert back to the original behavior. Why? Because when we were initially on spinning and creating that thought, that neural pathway, it went deep. And so the 21 days only gave you some surface traction. Now the research says that it can take anywhere from 120 days to even 366 days or 65 in
So
order
it
for
needs to
you
be something that you do every day. If you want
every day.
to make the change, you have to have the habit of doing it every day.
Which goes back to why I say that all
Mm.
behavior is habitual behavior, right? You eat a certain time. Yes, your body tells you that you
Mhm.
are hungry, but you eat a certain time. You eat certain things. That's habitual behavior. That
Yes.
is me saying, I like this. I want more of this. I don't want this. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I tell my business, Denise, when I'm teaching. And so one of the things I'll tell you is I don't like vegetables and I don't like fruit either. So I have said that for so long, but
Hmm.
now I am trying to get healthier, overall healthier. So what am I saying to myself? Well, first of all, I recognize that I've been programming myself not to like these
Uh-huh.
things for years,
By
right?
saying
So
it,
now I got
yeah.
to run a new program. Got to run a new program. And the new program is not all at the same time, but I bought some oranges. Now, I used to tell myself I don't like oranges because they're messy. I don't like anything on my hands. Don't judge me. I'm just saying. I don't like my hands get messy. But I
Not
found some
while you're eating.
oranges. Listen, I found some oranges that I can eat that don't make my hands messy. And I find that I like them. Right. And so
Mhm.
now I am reversing that program. I like
Yes.
the oranges. Well, that has now moved into not only do I like oranges, uh, I'm getting some blueberries. Now, there's still some things I'm not going to touch because I don't like them. But my point is simply this: we program ourselves into certain behaviors. Now that we know, when you know better, you do better. Now
Yes.
that you know how your brain works, you understand that you can disrupt the program and reprogram it, create a new program that is consistent with what you want. If what you want is to be a millionaire, but you're not making a dime right now, listen, y'all, the subconscious mind is just going to say that is nah, not
Yeah.
realistic. But if you say to yourself, if your affirmation is one of I am becoming, or I am doing what I need to do so that I can get 100,000, get 200,000. Now the subconscious mind will accept that because that is reasonable within the framework of your subconscious, right? The subconscious likes predictability. And when you come
Yes.
up with something that's just totally out of the ordinary, it's going to say danger, danger, danger. No, 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 no. Reject, reject, reject. So if you want
Okay.
new behavior, it has to be incremental, but it has to be something that your mind can accept. It can't be so drastic in with you thinking that it's going to happen overnight, because it's not going to happen overnight. But
It takes,
understand that through repetition, because
you have to
habits
make
are
it a
just
habit.
repeated
Yeah.
behavior,
Not 21
repetition,
days, not 67 days, not
just do
it's
it.
just do it every day.
And one other point I'll make: when you start to do this new thing, whether it's going to the gym or whether it's looking for a job or whether it's creating your business, when you start to do the new thing, the first thing your subconscious mind is going to do is say no. It likes
Mhm.
predictability. If this
Yeah.
is something that you have not been doing, it is going to give you all the reasons why you should not be doing it now. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I'm hungry. But you say, okay, I see you. I understand what's happening, and I'm just going to do one thing today, just one thing. And then I'll do one more thing tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I'll keep doing that. And you start at the end where you want to be and reverse engineer. So if you want to have $100,000 by a certain time, what do you have to have? What do you have to do in order to get it, right? So
Mhm.
once you create those steps, then you figure out what the end goal is, and then you create the steps to it, and then you begin at the from you begin from point zero working toward the 100K. And what that means for, let's just talk about everyday life. Maybe you're in relationship with your spouse or with the person that you want to be in, want to have as your spouse, and you are having some issues communicating. Communication is a number one, I think, reason why people end up in divorce or why relationships don't work out.
Yes.
So
Or lack of communication.
yeah, yeah. And so if that is the situation that you're facing, then you have to always look at, well, what part am I playing in it? What are the dynamics here? What part am
Yes.
I playing in it? What I know is that when we change one thing, everything changes. So
Yes.
when you can see what part you're playing in it and reverse engineer or change that behavior, the other person, initially they may look at you side-eyed, but the other person, if you stay in the new behavior, the other person will ultimately begin to change too.
I read a book by James Clear. It's called The Atomic Habits.
Yes.
And I was impressed by how just a small change shifts everything, especially if you don't know or you don't understand where you want to go with something, but you know that you need to change because you've read books, and you know that if you want to get some different results, you have to make a change, but you're not quite sure what to do. And I read in that book that if you just change one small thing, it makes a big difference in your life. Where in your book do you talk about change? I know you talk about the renewing of your mind throughout the book, but is there a specific chapter that tells us about the renewing of our mind, or how to be transformed?
The way the book is written in three different sections. And so the short answer to your question is that there's no one section that says this is it.
Okay.
The overall structure of the book, the first part of the book focuses on the brain. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? How do I change the thinking processes? It talks about the neuroplasticity of the brain, because my thesis is that when you understand how the mind works, when you
Yeah.
understand how the brain works, then it puts you, that's foundational, or that's a prerequisite to actually changing anything, any behavior, in a way that's going to be permanent. And I hesitated to say change because change is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation is permanent, right?
Mm.
Change, we can change, and we do. We change something every day, but
Yes.
do we transform it? And I
Yeah.
think that even though the research on the habits didn't talk about it in that way, that's really what they're saying. Those first 21 days, you changed your behavior, but you didn't transform it. And
Right.
the transformation takes place in the mind. When you begin to see
Yes.
yourself as the thing or the person that you want to become, you actually become that person right now. So when I think about your question, the first section of the book says this is what you must do in order to understand how to then transform your life, right?
Yes.
This is how the brain is working. The second part of the book focuses on my proprietary method, which is the self-employment, the self Lord Jesus.
Take
The
your time.
SEB process,
Okay.
self-empowerment breakthrough process. I just
Yes.
had a momentary slip, right? Uh,
Yes.
but I said self-empowerment because there's so many times I hear people talking about empowering someone else. And,
Mm-hmm.
and, and I have always just intuitively been resistant to that phrasing because I don't think you can empower anyone else. You
Mm-hmm.
can, it's like you can prepare a place before them. You can provide them with the knowledge, with the information, but the only person who can empower them is themselves. And
As a matter
so
of fact, just I wanted to stop right there because when I think about it, it is more it, it is more fulfilling when you have done something that gives you that makes you feel more powerful. Like if you make the transformation, if you read the book, if you decide, if you change your diet, if not just the disease make you change your diet, but if you decide, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to start eating differently. I didn't like fruits, but now I'm finding fruits that I like.
Yes.
So I think it is more empowering for us to make changes or to do something that make your life different and better and more strong and powerful.
Yes, I agree. And that's really about taking responsibility for self.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a society where it is easy to blame other people for where we are and how we are.
Yes.
And even going back to my statement that in the early years when we're being programmed by our parents, by society, by others. All of that is true. But this is an adult to adult conversation that we're having. And
Yes.
ultimately, what that means is that as an adult, you must take responsibility for yourself. I
Yes.
had a conversation with my son before he passed. He was 39 and a half years old. So I had it with him when he was about 38. And
Mm-hmm.
he was going through a period of depression because he had PTSD. And I
Mm-hmm.
said to him, he said to me, "Ma, who can stand in your shoes? Because you've done all these things." And I said, "I never asked you to stand in my shoes." He said, "But you always said, Brian, do your best." I said, "Yes, of course. I wanted you to do your best." And he said, "But by whose standard? By whose standard?" And of course, it was my standard that I was
Yes.
superimposing on him because I
Yes.
was trying to get him. I thought what I was doing was the right thing. And I'm
Right.
not saying that it was a bad thing. We parents
No,
do the best we can
we
within
do
our
the best we can.
limitations.
Yes.
But what I said to him is this: as your mother, I did the best that I could do. If
Mm-hmm.
I had known as you were growing up what I know now, I would like to believe that I would have raised you a little bit differently, not a whole lot, but a little bit differently. Having said that, you are fully grown. You're fully grown. You are a man and you must take responsibility now for your own life. So
Yes.
anything that I gave you that you choose to keep, okay, that's your decision. But anything you choose to jettison, to get rid of because it does not serve you, it is your responsibility to release that. And I say
Yes.
this to the listening audience: your parents did the best they could do, but your parents are laboring under the trauma that they experienced from their parents and from society and from all of it's like the history, each at each level, each person in your life comes in with their own baggage. And there's no judgment. We do the best we can do within the limitations that we have. But as an adult, when you decide to take responsibility for yourself, that is your responsibility to say, I and it's never a matter. I never am saying get rid of everything, because even in the worst relationships, if you look really closely, you'll find some good there. So
Absolutely. I agree. And I'm going to just expound on that because, you know, I've heard people say that they're blaming someone for something that happened in their life. But if you are going to take or give so much power to someone that has done something to you, then all of the good things that you've experienced, they you have to give them the power for that too. So if you're going to blame them for the good, then or the bad, then you have to blame them for the good also. You also said, oh my goodness, so many things that I wanted to touch on, about the renewing of your mind. And then one of the thing about how, your son thought that it was you who set the standard for him. But like you said, and I just want to reiterate, guys, when you become, in our country, in America, you're 18 years old, you're an adult. And at this stage, you can choose to do anything you want with your life. And one of the things that is important is for you to decide when you become an adult that and you're aware, because you could, be an adult and not be in awareness. But once you're an adult and you're in awareness, I think the first thing to do is make a decision that as an adult, you have full responsibility for what happens from this point on. Who you become, who you marry, who you love, how you treat your children, how much money you make. All of that is really up to you, despite what you've gone through. And no one is negating your hurt or your pain. We're saying that despite the hurt and the pain, it is now your responsibility to become all that you can be.
Yes. And
Dr.
honestly,
Yeah.
we're not talking necessarily about healing, but from a personal development standpoint, that is crucial to healing, that you take responsibility for yourself. You
Yeah.
may not have been able to control what happened before adulthood, but now that you are a man, now that you are a woman, now it is your responsibility to take
Yes.
control of your own life. And if you've not, quote unquote, mastered your mind before then, this is where you begin to think for yourself. And the my self-empowerment breakthrough process has 5 pillars. But the first one really is self-awareness and self-discovery. And this is where you get to reflect on, who am I? Why am I this person? Do I like the person that I'm being? Do I want to be
Mhm.
somebody else? Ooh, I have reinvented myself a gazillion times. And in fact, I am currently in the process of reinventing myself. Here's the thing about reinvention. If you love living, and if you understand that we're spirit beings in human form, then you also understand that it is your job to keep evolving. It is your job to keep experiencing life, not to get shut down by it. So reinvent anything you don't like, kick it to the side.
Mhm.
Who is the you that you want to be? Bring it on.
Where can we join your tribe? Because I know someone's listening and they are in awe and they're like, "Oh, I like her." Where can they follow you?
I am on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, and I am currently creating a new community for high achieving women that want to walk more closely with me. And it's called Abundance. Not Abundance, I'm so sorry. It's called Sanctuary. Sanctuary.
Uh-huh.
And,
All
and,
right.
and Sanctuary is a space where high achieving women, and especially Black women, can come in, take off the strong Black woman cloak,
Mhm.
take off the mask in a safe space, and just learn to be. Take a breath. And
Yes.
together we walk in companionship through that process of helping you identify, who am I? This is a container for identity transformation. It's not a container for inspiration. I will, of course, inspire you. I will attempt to motivate you, but the motivation again has to be self imposed. But it is a space where you get to sit with yourself, think about, who is the me that I was, think about who is the me that I want to become, and walk through that process. Again, there are 5 phases: reflection, reimagination, which is the part where I have you visioning, and then release. That's where you look at what stands between the me that I am and the me that I want to be. And
Yes.
then the important part is the reprogramming, the rewiring of your mind. And I like to think of my process as a spiral process, because transformation does not take place on a straight line. It's more like my slinky, and we keep coming back to the same place,
Ah,
but we come back to it from a higher perspective. And every time we come back, we see it with new eyes, and that gives us strength. That gives us the fortitude to see other places and spaces in our world, in our life, that we didn't have insight into. But always we are moving toward the new goal of the person that you have envisioned, the me that you want to be.
I like that you likened transformation to a slinky, because I do feel the bounce back and forth in my transformation, where I feel like I've actualized in some area and then I need to grow in another area. Or I will even go dormant in certain areas just so that I can go deeper in another area.
Exactly,
Oh, I like
exactly,
that. Mm-hmm.
exactly. And what I say about the transformation when I use the slinky analogy is that the deeper you go, the higher you go.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
If it's slinky,
yes. Oh,
you're
yes.
doing it up like that. So the deeper
Yes.
you go, the higher
The
you
higher
go.
you go.
In order to reach the person that you are envisioning, you've got to go deep. You got to go
Yes. Yeah.
because it is in the deepness or in the depth that you are identifying those interior barriers, the blockages, the things that keep you from being your great self. I believe greatness is your birthright. Greatness is our birthright.
Yes.
We have been programmed to believe that it's not. And so this process that I use is one of helping you delayer, deconstruct, so that you can connect with the greatness that is within you. Because your creator, by whatever name you call him or her, it gave you a vision, gave you a purpose. You didn't lose it, you just layered over it with stuff from other people. So now you
Mm-hmm.
get to delayer and reconnect with your authentic self on the real, the one that you're here to be, the one that you have forgotten. You didn't
You,
lose her. You're not broken.
you
You
know,
just forgot her.
there's a really huge tree in the front of my yard. And the other day, after the snow melted, I went out with my husband to pick up some sticks that fell off of the tree. And I realized that this really huge, tall, humongous tree had roots that were spread wide. So I was picking up some of the, I thought it was branches, but these were the roots that were coming up out of the ground. But as I was doing it, I was thinking how deep these roots of the tree were, and
Mhm.
how in order for the tree to be that tall, a lot of us want to be visible, we want to be seen in the world, but we don't want to do the deep work, the transformation. And even though your book is telling us and other books are telling us, we still want to get there without going deep. We want to fast track it, but in order for you to get more visibility, you have to go deeper. By be he transformed by the renewing of your mind. So
Yes.
go deep in your mind and get learn more about your topic, about yourself, about your audience. Go deep, and in that going deep, you will start to grow higher, just like the tree in my front yard.
Yeah, the root system of a tree, I understand, is as broad as the umbrella
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
as deep as the height.
Yes.
And it makes
Yes.
sense because it would have to be in order to
To
hold that.
hold that. Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for clarifying. Dr. Sue, we close every episode of the Bold Book of the Day with 3 questions. And I know that the audience is it's going to land powerfully for you guys who are listening. Now, what's one bold promise you can make to our audience today?
The promise I make is that if you do the work to master your mind, it will change your life. It will put
Mm,
you in a position of power where you will not be in bondage to anyone, where your dreams, whatever dreams you may have, they're no longer
mhm.
dreams. Now they become your reality.
I love
Master your
that.
mind.
Master your mind. What's a bold statement that you can make to the audience that may cause a paradigm shift?
This is very simplistic. It ain't easy, but it's doable.
That's right. And finally, what's a bold move that you'd like to make in the future?
I am creating an enterprise that consists of my publications, my mentor coaching program, and a couple of other things. And the move really is to bring an awareness of mind mastery to every space on earth, um, because I think that we are living in a time when, in order not to get caught up in worldly events, we must be able to go within, because that's where the power lies.
Yes.
And when you can go within, then truly you get to create your own reality. So it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing, saying, or being. In your world, all is well. So I want to bring mind mastery to the world.
Where can they find the book?
The book is available on Amazon, and it's also available on my site, my website.
What's your website?
Excuse me, www.drsuecartercollins, just one word,
Yes.
.com.
drsuecartercollins.com. Go out there and support our authors. You can also get Dr. Sue's book at boldpublishings.com. And please support our authors. They are coming out here, and it is not easy to publish your book. It is not easy to write a book, but they are doing it. And the best way to support them is to go on their website and purchase a signed copy. So please go out there and support our authors. Thank you so much, Dr. Sue. And for whoever out there is listening, if you would like to write a book and you feel stuck and you just don't know where to start, or you're overwhelmed, you've already started, but you're overwhelmed, please send a message to author D. Nicholson at gmail.com, and someone will give you the information so you can join our community and get your book idea out of your head and published. Dr. Sue, thank you so much for being a part of today and sharing your message. This has been, oh my God, a powerhouse of a conversation. And you've given these women a map and a mirror and, I believe, and a message. You've given them so much that I believe that whoever is listening and was thinking of doing something or just thinking there's got to be more to life than this, now you can get from mastering your mind to mastering your life. It is available wherever books are sold, and I believe that it will make a difference in your life and give you the answer to that question that's been burning inside of you. There's got to be more to life than this. Thank you so much, Dr. Sue. I really appreciate you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.